and this is past perfect tense, right? I have a, I have already explained you previous tenses like present simple, present progressive, present perfect, and present perfect progressive. In the same way, past simple, past progressive, and right now I'm gonna explain you about the past perfect, right? So before moving towards the past verb perfect, first of all I should let you know about the regular verbs and irregular verbs. So regular verbs are those in which we use ed at the end of the verb, right? Like watch, watched, washed, laugh, laughed, laughed, dance, danced, danced, wash, washed, washed, watch, watched, watched, look, looked, looked, close, closed, closed, right? So these all are the regular verbs because it ended with ed. It ends with ed. And irregular verbs are those which change their form completely, like have, had, had, go, went, gone, win, won, won, fly, flew, flown, speak, spoken, leave, left, left, throw, threw, thrown. So these all are the irregular verbs. Why? First of all, you must be thinking that why I have let you know about regular verbs and irregular verbs. Actually, we use our past participle verbs, participle form in past perfect tense, right? Means the tense which we are going to learn today. So in that tense we will be using these forms, like we will be using third form of the verb, we will be using these forms. Okay, like these forms will be past participles we use in past perfect tense. Okay. So here is the structure of past perfect tense. First of all, affirmative sentences. In affirmative sentence we have subject, had, and then past participle form. Very easy, quite extremely easy. Means we have only had. Remember this thing, that in past perfect tense we only use had with all the subjects, right? Whether it is singular subject or the plural subject, it has no issue. We just need to use had with all the subjects and past participle form, like third form of the verb. For example, I had read the whole book. In the same way, negative sentence we simply use not after had, and contraction of had, not, hadn't, then past participle form. I had not read the whole book. In the same way, while making interrogative, what we need to do is we just need to use had before the subject. Is a had and it comes before the subject. Had I read the whole book? So these all are the affirmative sentences, these all are the negative, and these all are the interrogative sentences. Okay, affirmative sentences, the same way we use had with all the subjects, you can see over here, and past participle form, like I had cleaned. Negative form, I had not cleaned. Interrogative, had I cleaned. Means while making negative we just use not after had. While making interrogative we just use had before the subject. You had cleaned, you had not cleaned, had you cleaned, he had cleaned, he had not cleaned, had he cleaned, she had cleaned, she had not cleaned, had she cleaned, it had cleaned, it had not cleaned, had it cleaned, we had cleaned, we had not cleaned, had we cleaned, they had cleaned, they had not cleaned, had they cleaned. So you must have seen over here that with all the subjects, I, you, he, she, it, we, they, with all the subject we use only had. Alright, and the past participle form. These all are the contraction form. Affirmative, while making affirmative we will be using I had cleaned, so I'd cleaned. You had cleaned, you'd cleaned. He had cleaned, he'd cleaned. She had cleaned, she'd cleaned. It had cleaned, it'd cleaned. We had cleaned, we'd cleaned. They had cleaned, they'd cleaned. While making negative, how will be using the contraction of negative form? I hadn't cleaned, you hadn't, he hadn't cleaned, she hadn't cleaned, it hadn't cleaned, we hadn't cleaned, they hadn't cleaned. Alright. Now we have some examples of past perfect tense. I had never seen such a beautiful sunset before I went to the island. So here we have had and third form of the verb seen. We were not able to stay overnight at the hotel since we had not reserved a room in advance. So here we have had and third form of the verb. Mark knew Philadelphia so well because he had lived there for 5 years. So here had left third form of the verb, right? He understood the math test because he had been tutored all week. Here we are using third form of the verb and had. I did not have any cash because I had lost my purse. If I had seen him, I would have told him the news. Before he did his homework, he had stayed after school for help. She had lived in California before moving to Texas. The cat had chased the bird before it flew out of the yard. We had just called home when my mom texted us about returning the car. She had visited several doctors before she found out the problems was with her hand. If we had called ahead, we would not have needed to wait so long for our table. So we can see over here in all the sentences we have used had and third form of the verb. Just by these two words like had and with past participle form, just by these two. Here we have the uses of past perfect tense, that where we can use the past perfect. An action finished before another past action. When we arrived, the film had started. It had snowed in the night, so the bus didn't arrive. It can be used with when, past simple, June, and last Tuesday. Last. How long to a point in the past? When he graduated, he had seen in London for 6 years. On the 20th of July, I'd worked here for 3 months. It can be used with when past simple for all time. Unreal things in the past. I wish I hadn't gone to bed so late. She would have passed the exams if he had studied harder. Means this tense can be used for the third condition for the wishes as well. I wished I had told the truth. Can be used with the third condition and wishes as I just told you before. To show that an action happened before something else in the past. She stayed up all night because she had received bad news. They lost many of the games because they had not practiced enough. Can be used to show that an action happened before a specific time in the past. She had established her company before 2008. He had never played football until last week.